Mark, which day of training camp did you practice the off the backboard kick out into the corner?
Yeah, that's not part of the curriculum.
What did you make of not just Shai, but just the team? After they cut it to 4, and it just seemed like total lock-in and attack mode on both ends.
Yeah, we moved the scoreboard down the stretch. Credit Memphis, they kept playing because we had a pretty good lead there that we could have held, and we let them scrape back into the game with just a little bit of lack of execution both ends. And to the credit of the team, we got it back on the road there pretty quickly.
We could say this every season multiple times about Kenrich, but just the readiness that he had tonight, not just to play played 25 minutes.
Yep.
What stood out to you most about the impact that he had coming in?
Well, first of all, him, BC, and Brooks, great professionalism, and just those guys just work the program. They do a great job of not only staying ready but improving. Brooks we haven't seen in a while. He's been with the Blue, logged a lot of minutes there, and he's clearly a better, more functional player today than he was the last time he was with us. Kenrich is a total pro, BC total pro, so it's a credit to those guys, and then it's also a great point of pride for our program because it means that everything we're putting around these guys that gives them the platform to improve like that and stay ready like that is working. So, we're incredibly proud of when we get lifts from guys like that aren't in the normal rotation or that play a larger rotation.
Shai with 10 rebounds tonight. What is, on a night where you're lacking some traditional size, what kind of lift does that give your team?
Yeah, when you have guys out like that and you have kind of a different mix of players, you need the guys to very quickly be able to calibrate to that and provide something different that they might not provide. It puts you in different spots on the floor. The way that it did for him tonight. So I thought the whole team did a great job of that. We were small at times against Jackson, which is difficult. And the guys, I thought we scrapped. I thought we flew around, got our hands on the ball, gang rebound. It did some really good things there to compensate for having some bigs out.
When you guys many guys that are out, do you come into the game with some ideas of different lineups? Because I would think you had some different groupings that you hadn't used before. You have an idea what you're going to use, or you're kind of watching the game to see what might work?
Oh, we always have what I would say is a soft plan, and then we've got frameworks of things that we know we can go to and the trade-offs that come with each lineup that you can kind of pivot to. In different circumstances. We started Shai in the 4th tonight. We haven't done that very often, but we took him out earlier in the 3rd. That's an example of that. It's something we've done many times. We weren't planning on it going into the game, but just the way that the hand got dealt, we decided to go to it. So,
Coach, can you talk about, obviously heading into this game and with the way that they played tonight, they have 4 or 5 big men that they tried to roll out there, obviously, which you guys just won. But, can you speak more to, again, Kenrich? And obviously he kind of lived up to, his Kenny Hustle moniker tonight with 4 steals and pretty much every rebounds as well.
Yeah, he just, first of all, the year that we made the play-in, we played great basketball right before the All-Star break, and a lot of that was him at the 5. He was giving us a huge lift in that role, so we learned all the way back then that was a weapon for us and something that he was capable of. And so tactically, that's really helpful. And then he's just got a certain ethos to him that's great for our team. He is always competitive. He's always edgy. He really gets lost in the game, lost in the competition. His presence on the court brings a lot of soul to the team. And he's a guy, he played 5 first-half minutes, I think, against Minnesota. I didn't play him in the second half. And then you throw him right back in there tonight, and he couldn't have been more ready to go. So I got a lot of respect for him.
Mark, you've talked about your philosophy before about not wanting to overcoach these guys. What has your conversations been like with Lou to start this season, and then what did it look like tonight whenever he kind of returned to form a little bit?
I haven't had any conversations with Lou. I have such belief in Lou, his competitiveness. I've seen him go through so many ups and downs over the last 6 years and how he's responded to that. He's so consistent as a competitor. He always puts the work in, and he has unbelievable self-belief. So he maintains a high level of self-confidence through all circumstances, and I've got a lot of faith in in betting on that. So I haven't talked to him.
Kaysen,
Other than ask like how his family is, and I'm speaking to him, but not about his performance.
Kaysen came in the league as a pretty ready-made defender, but you've talked about his development as a guy where he needed to see the pictures. He's done that. He's been a guy who's gotten more into the film. We've talked to Dort and AC about that. What's sort of the next step in his development for him to keep growing as a defender?
Well, I mean, a lot of it is just like learning the different patterns, which I think he's gotten, because I think that's where some of the steals are coming from. You know, he's to the point now where he's seen enough of the pictures that he can anticipate what's happening next, and his instincts take over. And then with the guys that he's guarding, a lot of it's just learning the league. You know, those guys are just so they know their game so well, and they're so impactful. And so you're so far behind, you know, who you're guarding. If it's, you know, a guy like, you know, whoever, Doncic, you know, he knows his game really, really well. You have to catch up to that as far as you can, you know, and that's hard to do. And he's in that process. And I think Lou and Caruso have really helped him. Those guys have a great collaboration with that. He's on a great trajectory and been very impressive.
Shai got the 100 consecutive games with the 20 points or more today. Can you tell us about his consistency?
I mean, that speaks to his consistency. You know, what I can tell you about is the consistent work he puts in, the vision he has, the commitment he has to the game, his craft, the team. You know, he's always in character on that stuff. You know, he is ruthlessly consistent in the invisible spaces that I see that you guys don't, and there's probably 100 more that I don't see, you know, that he's taken care of. But it's no accident that he's the player that he is. He's literally, you know, chiseled himself into this player.
Anyone else for Coach? Thank you, Coach.
All righty. Yep.